NHL 25, current gen only, old gen and current gen. What are we going to get? The most asked question in like a year and a half now. What is NHL 25 going to do, and will it finally leave old gen behind? Burt Crown here, guys. I hope you do enjoy the video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. But this game has come a long way, and it's because they leave old gen behind in an appropriate fashion and appropriate time for the company and for the user. Yes, this company is here to make money. Yes, it is a business, and they have to keep game sales up. And how do they do that? Is they don't transition from old gen to current gen and only current gen until everybody is ready to go and caught up. We can't wait for everybody, but it's something they have to keep in mind. If there is more than 35% of people on old gen still buying this game every year, they're gonna keep making it. Now, we do have to leave people behind, unfortunately, but it has to happen. And I'm gonna show you game clips, show you why that we need this to be NHL 25's year to be current exclusive gen only, or current gen exclusive only, however we want to word it. I don't know. But this is where we started in NHL on PlayStation 1 back in 1996, or NHL 97. PlayStation 1 was released in 94, but it didn't come to NHL until 96 when they brought out NHL 97, because you know, they don't name it the same year that it was released. They name it the year ahead. It's a thing. It's confusing, but it's a thing. Now, NHL 97 looked like this. Now, yes, this was NHL 97. This was the top of the line gameplay. And this game used to be the best thing. Like, when this was out, this was the greatest thing. So forgive the graphics, but at our time, this graphics was unbelievable. Now, this is where we started. PlayStation 1, this was the first NHL on PlayStation 1, and this is what it looked like. This is what we were adapted to, but they had to leave this behind so we could progress, right? We had, when we switched to the PlayStation 2, which I will get to, we had this game. Now, when this game shifted into this, it was because of progression, right? You don't get a game like this out of a game like we just seen if you don't leave old gen behind and carry on, right? So this gameplay is NHL 24. And it was good. It's good gameplay. It has come a long way, but it's because of that. So it is time to discuss and look at NHLs throughout their courses, and when they used old and current generation, and when they moved on and cut out old generation and only used current generation. So we're going to check that out, guys. I hope you do enjoy it. If you do, give it a thumbs up, but let's look at some gameplay. And then that last one there was NHL 24, where we have come. So we have come a far way from what we had to what we got. And that is all in the progression of PlayStation, right? This is what I'm guiding it on. I'm guiding it on PlayStation. So in 94, PlayStation 1 was released, and NHL 97 was the first one to come to PlayStation 1. But then PlayStation 2 dropped in 2002, and then that gave us this gameplay, which NHL 2001 shared with PlayStation and PlayStation 2. So let's look at that gameplay as we check into what it looked like when two consoles shared. Now, this is more or less just to show you the transition between when two generations share a game and when they don't. So this is 2001. PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 both shared this game, sorry. So you got, this is what it looks like when you have that. And by the way, those are terrible hooks. Those are like, that guy's slashing them like crazy. But you got spins, and then you got terrible goaltending. But this is all coming down to PlayStation 1 and 2 sharing a game. And then we're going to transition into this, which is NHL 2002, which is just PlayStation. This is where NHL dropped PlayStation 1 and they moved on to PlayStation 2, which was only 1 year. That's very important because, you know, we've got 3 now, but that's very important. Look at the graphics in the game. They transitioned a little, and it progressed the game because they dropped out of PlayStation 1. Something that needs to happen now. And then you've seen a transition there from NHL 2001 to NHL 2002. And the biggest difference was they dropped old gen, and PlayStation 2 was the gen that we used for NHL. So like all the other stuff was involved, other companies. Like, I'm not getting into the Xbox, PlayStation, blah, 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 because they released their consoles at different times. PlayStation 2 carried a 6-year run by itself before PlayStation 3 was introduced, where they were 2 years combined. So PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2 had a 1-year layover gap, or gap together, whatever we want to call it. And then PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3 had 2 years. So when PlayStation 3 came out, this is what PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 look like with NHL 08. Okay, so the first thing we're really, truly going to notice here is the graphics are a lot better. So this is the combination between 2 and 3, but the graphics are significantly better here, as you can tell. Less floaty, less chunky skating, but it's still really chunky, really not the smoothest like what we're used to, but it's better. It is a lot better. But this is PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 in the same game. Still, I mean, it could be held back, and at the time of using it, you don't notice it, right? Like, this isn't something that when this game came out, you were wanting to get off of it, but because right now we've been so long attached to PlayStation 4, people are ready to move on so we can get better graphics. As you're seeing, the big graphics changes are when they release the old gen and just stick to the new gen. We're going to do a little transition here into this, which is PlayStation 3 only. Looks a little smoother, looks a little better, but it's still, graphics-wise, it's still far off of what we're used to. So that's why it looks bad, but like the goalie plays different, everything plays, shooting, skating, it's all smoother than what we had when we shared old gen and new gen. So that is just PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 2 working together, and yeah, that's what we got. And that drifted into the clip of NHL 2010, where it was just a PlayStation 3, like just current gen. And then PlayStation 3 had a great run of 5 years of just current gen, and then the PlayStation 4 came out, which is where we split PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 for 2 years, and this is what that looked like with NHL 15. So here we go. We're just taking a good look at it here. It's a lot smoother. It's getting, as you can tell, we're getting very close now to what we have with NHL 24. It looks, the jerseys don't move as much, and it looks a little blocky. The skating's still a little choppy, but it's getting there. Puck misses, you know, it's getting there. And it's all due to what we've been talking about this whole video, and that is they need to move on. And we all know that. We're all ready for it. But this is just a nice little video clip of generational switching and showing you what games look like as we're creeping up into, after 2 years of the consoles being together between 3 and 4, this is when the consoles were together with PlayStation 3 and 4, and then we're going to see right here where we switch into what the consoles were like when they went to just PlayStation 4. So let's take a switch there and see what that looks like. And you see as we switch, you got the big NBC. Who remembers the big NBC, eh? But anyway, we got that. And this is it. It kind of looks, even though they switched, it looks smoother on the player. They're not as blocky looking in their elbows and their arms, but they still have that floating, even though they look more like they're skating when they push, which we have now. They've done a great job with the skating, but now it looks like they're not floating as much as you just seen with the game that was sharing. Their skating is a lot better. It's not crazy great like we got, but it's when their strides are happening, it actually looks like they're pushing and they're skating instead of just floating across the ice. That was a big improvement for this game when they switched that kind of skating mechanic. But yeah, there we go, switching from PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4. And then we drifted there from 15 to 17 just to show you what the gameplay changes were. And 17 obviously looked a little bit better than 15, but that is something that has to happen when you're, leaving a generation behind. When you're leaving old gen behind and you're just sticking with the current gen, things are going to get better in the game, which is why it's desperately needed to make this happen. Now when PlayStation 4 was supposed to switch over, would have been 2 years, right? PlayStation 4 had a good 5-year run, but then it's been blended with the PlayStation 5 for 3 years. This year we're playing in now should have been a PlayStation 5 exclusive or a current gen exclusive. I keep saying PlayStation 5 because that's what I'm working on for numbers. Now, it wasn't. We had a third year, an extra year. We can say that's because of the pandemic, but it's time to move on past that. It's time to get past that, and it's time to leave old gen behind and move to better things. Because one, we need that 4 or 5 year run of just PlayStation 5 to get ready for the PlayStation 6, which is said to be coming out in 2027. Don't panic. We're still going to have 4 years from now of PlayStation 5 only if they move on, because PlayStation 6, if it drops in 2027, NHL won't release a game for it until the next year, which would be 2028, which would actually be NHL 29. So you can just relax, it's okay. And they will have about a 2-year period. So it's literally like you could buy a PlayStation 5 now if you don't already have one, and you're looking at 6 years still before the new gen bumps out PlayStation 5. It's crazy to think of, but that is the timeline, right? So PlayStation 1 was 6 years, PlayStation 2 was 6 years, PlayStation 3 was 7 years, and then the PlayStation 4 was 7 years, and the PlayStation 5 came out in 2020, meaning 2027 is a good target number, and it's on the internet as the target number. So take that as you will. But if it comes out in 2027, every year has been delayed, right? PlayStation 1 came out in 94. We didn't get it till NHL 97. PlayStation 2 came out in 2000. We didn't get it till NHL 2001. PlayStation 3 came out in 06. We didn't get it till NHL 08. PlayStation 4 came out in 13. We didn't get it until 15. PlayStation 5 came out in 20. We didn't get it till 22. So don't worry, that layover happens where it'll come out and where PlayStation 6 will come out in 27, but it will be a couple of years before we get it on hockey. So we need that time of just PlayStation 5 to start pulling away from the PlayStation 4, integrating everything of up-to-date software engines. I don't know, I'm not tech savvy, but they need time to work their way through the PlayStation 5 to get ready for the PlayStation 6, and this is the year. Now, I'm expecting that they would drop that news when they drop the cover athlete here in a couple of days, but who knows? Who knows, right? I made this video last night from when we're watching it today, so if something dropped, my bad, but I would expect that they said something. Now, to finish this out, I went through from all the PlayStation 1 releases to all the NHL releases, and I couldn't find anything where EA gave anybody a heads up saying, hey, we're not doing old gen anymore. So they could do that. Be prepared for that. They could say, hey, NHL 25 is only on current gen. We're not doing old gen anymore. And good luck to you. They could do that. Will they do that? Who knows? Hopefully they feed us more information so we can prepare if you're not already. But we need to move past NHL 25 being on old gen. It needs to be a current gen exclusive, and that's it. Leave that in the comment section down below what you guys think. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little different, but I wanted to just have some fun with it and answer the question. The most asked question is NHL 25 going to be on current gen only? And that's the best I could come up with, guys. Those numbers and everything we need to know. Thank you for watching this video. Till next time, ciao, ciao.